Hi, welcome everybody. I hope that you all are definitely might be doing some awesome and outstanding things in your life. On the demand of the most of the students, let's discuss electric current. It might be a little bit complicated lesson, but I will try to make it as simple as possible, and I will explain the fundamentals and basics while explaining the main concepts itself. Okay? So, electric current. Before we discuss the lesson, let's discuss the meanings of the words present in the lesson name. Current is nothing but which flows, and electric is nothing but related to the charges. So electric current is nothing but a study of charges which are in motion. Okay, let's start. According to the textbook, there is an activity and there are two situations are there below that activity. The first activity is there is a dry cell which is connected to a torchlight bulb with the help of conducting wires. Okay, so here current is passing through these connecting wires. So here torchlight bulb is glowing. In the situation 1 below this activity, it is given that if the dry cell is removed from this and these two ends are connected to each other, does the bulb glow? Second situation is when these copper wires are replaced with the nylon threads and connected in this circuit, does the bulb glow? In the first situation, when this dry cell is removed, when these two ends are connected with each other, then definitely bulb does not glow. Why? Because in every simple electric circuit, a source of energy or source of electricity is necessary. You may know that battery or dry cell contains chemical energy which is converted into electrical energy, then furtherly it is converted into light and heat energy. Okay. So next situation 2 is when these copper wires are replaced with the nylon threads, then also bulb does not glow, because in order to carry the energy from this dry cell to the torchlight bulb, we need a conductor, okay, through which current passes. But nylon threads are bad conductors of electricity, so we cannot use the nylon threads as conducting wires, okay, because they do not conduct the electricity. We all know that metals conduct electricity, plastic, wood, rubber, these materials, they do not conduct the electricity as they are bad conductors of electricity. Okay, next move on to the next topic. So here itself in the first diagram, if we zoom in any little portion to make it appear more bigger and bigger, okay, then it will appear a little bit like this part. Okay, if you zoom in anywhere and imagine, when we just go deeper and deeper to imagine it in more bigger size, okay, the inner portion of a conductor, so let's consider that it appears like this. Okay, so this is a metallic conductor inner portion. So here these red color circles are nothing but free electrons which have came out from their surrounding atoms. When electrons actually goes out from these atoms, they becomes the positively charged ions. Okay, so the existence of these positively charged ions is called lattice ions, and the region in which these ions exist, it is called lattice space. We see this arrangement in good conductors of electricity only, because these free electrons only responsible for constituting the current. Okay, and we do not see the same arrangement in bad conductors of electricity. The bad conductors of electricity do not contain any free electrons. Okay, there are no positive ions in it. There are no positive ions in the bad conductors. Okay, so good conductors, what makes the good conductors as good conductors is the free electrons, and these absence of free electrons only makes the bad conductors as bad conductors of electricity. Okay, let's move on. Here you can see the two diagrams, top one and bottom one. In top one, the current is not passing through this conductor. Okay, and one more time let me tell you that these two diagrams also a small little portion which is zoomed to imagine in bigger size. Okay, it is also a small zoomed portion which is here shown to imagine in bigger size of a conductor, inner portion of the conductor. Okay, so here there is no current is passing in this conductor, and here current is passing through the conductor. So by the diagrams itself you can understand that the electrons which are present in the conductor, when no current is passing through it, then the electrons are said to be in random directions. You can see that different electrons are moving in different directions. Okay, so the net flow of charge in any one direction through the cross sectional area of the conductor is 0, because number of electrons passing from left to right in a given time is equal to the number of electrons passing from right to left. Understand? Okay, so net flow of electrons is 0. Here in the conductor in which current is passing, all the electron are specifically moving in one direction. So here net flow is not equals to 0. Okay, so here net flow not equals to 0 because all the electrons are moving specifically in one direction. This is what happens actually when current is passing in the conductor and when the current is not passing in the conductor. When current is passing in the conductor, the arrangement of the electrons in the conductor is in random motion. Electrons are said to be in random motion. Okay, and when the current is passing in the conductor, then all the electrons specifically move in one direction. So when the current is not passing through the conductor, net flow of charges is 0, and when the current is passing through the conductor, net flow of charges is not equals to 0. Okay, next move on. Then what is current? We all know that movement of charges through the conductor constitute current. Okay, it is correct. It is the general definition, but here current is defined as amount of charges passing through the cross sectional area of the conductor in 1 unit time is called current. Okay, so in this diagram, first suppose consider this is the cross section area of the conductor. Okay, and here the cross section area of this conductor. So amount of charges passing through this cross sectional area in 1 unit time is called the current. Amount of charges, these electrons, here the charge carriers, we know that. So here how much each charge actually contains, each electron contains some charge, Q charge. Okay, so like that the amount of charges passing through the cross sectional area of the conductor in 1 unit time is called the current in this conductor. Okay, and current formula is amount of charge by time. Charge is represented by small q, time is represented by small t, and charge is measured in coulombs and time is measured in seconds. So current is measured in coulombs per seconds, and it is also named as ampere. So current is measured in amperes, and the short formula of current is I equals to Q by T. Next move on. Sir, when the electrons are moving through the conductor, do they move fastly or slowly or intermediately? How do they move? Okay, so now we are going to derive an equation for the speed of the electrons when they are moving through the conductor. We all know that movement of electrons only constitute current. Okay, but with what speed they move through the conductor? Okay, now we are going to derive an equation for the drift speed. Drift speed is nothing but the speed with which electrons move through the conductor. It is called drift speed. Now we are going to derive an equation for the drift speed of the electrons. Okay, so let's consider again the small zoomed bigger imaginable portion of the conductor. Okay, here you can see the free electrons, they are specifically moving in one direction. So let's consider a conductor through which I current is passing. Let the charges or electrons are moving with the Vd meter per second velocity in this conductor. Okay, let the cross sectional area of the conductor is capital A. Let this be the line A and this be the line B. Okay, let the distance from line A to B is Vd. So the volume which is enclosed by this line A and B means the volume of the conductor which is in between the line A and B is Vd into A. Let the charge density in the conductor is small n. Then the number of charges or number of electrons present in this conductor enclosed by the volume line A and B is Vd into A into small n. Okay, let the charge of each electron is small q, then the total amount of charge present in this volume Vd into A is Vd A and q, which is theoretically equal to the current passing through this conductor, okay, in 1 unit time through this cross sectional area. Here Vd A and q represents the total amount of charge passing through the cross sectional area of the conductor in 1 unit time. Okay, so it is theoretically equal to the formula or definition of current, that is I equals to, we can write that this total product it is theoretically equal to the current. So we can write that I equals to Vd into A into N into Q. Okay, so drift speed here, Vd represents drift speed. So take the Vd to the left and take the I to the right, then we will get a drift speed formula is Vd equals to I by A and Q. Okay, here the simple thing you have to remember one thing, that with this formula itself we can justify one more thing, we can actually explain one more concept. It is here Vd is the speed which is always positive, cross sectional area is the area which is also positive, and here electron density is also always positive. But here Q is, here actually current is being constituted by the movement of negatively charged particles, they are electrons, so here Q is negative. So whole togetherly when we actually, when this minus sign I equals to, we'll get a minus VDA and Q. This minus symbol represents that the direction of current in the conductor is always in the opposite direction to the direction of electrons. Okay, so it represents that direction of current in this conductor is in the opposite direction to the direction of electrons. If the electrons are moving from left to right, then direction of current is from right to left. If the electrons are moving from right to left, then the direction of current is from left to right. Okay, so why we take the direction of current in the opposite direction to the direction of electrons is actually given by this formula. Okay, I hope you understood this one. Let's move to the next concept. Here you can see the 2 points, positive and negative charges. But before that, I would like to go to the first diagram, which give a good basic to understand that concept. Okay, so here you can see that a simple electric circuit diagram. We know that when we connect a dry cell to the torchlight bulb with the help of conducting wires, here current passes through the conducting wires, so bulb glows. Okay, generally what happens, this movement of electrons only constitute current, we know that. Okay, this movement of electrons only constitute current, definitely there is no doubt about it. But who is moving these electrons, how these electrons are moving through the conductor? Okay, which energy, which force is responsible for me? Here let's imagine the 2 points, point A and B. Okay, right side there is point B and left side there is point A. So point A contains high number of positive charges and less number of negative charges, so it is said to be point of higher potential. Okay, so see that a higher potential point is decided by the number of more positive charges and less negative charges. Next, here point B contains more negative charges and less positive charges, so it is said to be at actually lower potential. Okay, so it is said to be point of lower potential. Now when I connect these 2 points with the help of a copper wire or any conductor, then electrons starts moving from point B to A. Okay, then current is constituted from point A to B. Just now I told you that the direction of current is always taken in the opposite direction to the direction of electrons. Okay, so here sir, what happens when we connect these 2 points with the help of a conductor? See how electrons come into motion, how they travel from point A to B, because here point A is at higher potential and point B is at lower potential. When these 2 points are connected, imagine these 2 points are connected with the help of a conducting wire, then a uniform electric field is produced throughout the entire volume of the conductor. This uniform electric field is responsible for making the electrons to move from point A to B. Okay, so the same method, same explanation, same concept is applied in case of battery also. Let's consider this is the battery at dry cell positive terminal and this is the battery at dry cell negative terminal. Okay, see here a battery, this is the positive terminal. Okay, and this is the negative terminal. So positive terminal contains high positive charges and less negative charges, so this positive terminal of the dry cell is said to be at higher potential, and here negative terminal has more negative charges and less positive charges, so this negative terminal is said to be at a lower potential. Okay, and when these 2 points are connected to the torchlight bulb with the help of conducting wires, then what happens, a uniform electric field is produced throughout the entire volume of the conductor, which is responsible for the making of electrons to move through the conductor. Okay, the direction of electric field is from positive to negative, but the electrons move from negative to positive. Electrons move in the direction, opposite direction to the direction of electric field. Okay, so this electric field is responsible for the movement of electrons. Okay, so who is producing this electric field? This dry cell or battery. Okay, it means here in this case it is dry cell. So I am generalizing this explanation for all sources of electricity. Okay, so this battery is producing electric field. How battery is producing electric field? By maintaining its one terminal at higher potential and other terminal at a lower potential. Okay, so by maintaining one point at higher potential and other point at a lower potential, so it is producing the electric field. As long as this dry cell maintains one end at high potential, other end at low potential, here electric field will be produced. Okay, once the battery cannot maintain one end at higher potential and another end at lower potential, then this dry cell cannot produce a uniform electric field throughout the intervolume of the conductor. When when electric field is not produced, then current does not pass through this conductor. Okay, so that is what the reason. So here see that electrons move due to the electric field, and electric field is produced when dry cell maintains one end at high potential, other end at low potential. Okay, how dry cell or a battery maintains its one end at higher potential and other end at a lower potential? How do they maintain? So in order to understand this, we need to study the working of battery. In next concept I will tell you about that one. Okay, but here dry cell actually what it is producing the electric field. So dry cell is doing the works on the electrons to make them move. Okay, so let's consider q coulombs of charge is there in the conductor, and this dry cell is doing w joules of work to carry those charges, q coulombs of charge, from one terminal to another terminal. Okay, then work done by these dry cells to carry the 1 coulomb charge from one terminal to another terminal is said to be potential difference or voltage. Okay, so here potential difference, which is also called as voltage, amount of work done by the battery to carry the unit charge from one terminal to another terminal is called potential difference. Okay, again I will go to the same diagram. Here this dry cell or battery is doing the work to make these electrons move through the conductor. Okay, so amount of work done by the battery to carry the unit charge from one terminal to another terminal is called what? Voltage. So voltage formula is V equals to W by Q. W is measured in joules and charge is measured in coulombs. So finally here potential difference or voltage is measured in joules per coulomb, and this unit is actually named as volts. Okay, so this was the concept. Just now I told you that this dry cell maintains one end at high potential, other end at low potential. Okay, so in the next class we will discuss that how a battery or dry cell is able to maintain one end at high potential and other end at low potential. In order to understand that, we need to discuss about the working of battery. Okay, which we will discuss in the next topic. I hope that you have understood these all concepts. Okay, we will continue our lesson in the next part. If you still get any doubts, just go back and play the videos one more time, and wherever you get the doubts, okay, you can just message me in the comment section. I will definitely answer you to clear all your doubts. Okay, thank you, see you, take care, bye.